Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to Battle Chef Brigade. So we have, I think, one more battle we're going to have to do. We kind of barely even won. Um, and then we did, lose, I think, at one time. Playing as Thrash here, trying to get the third heart that was stolen by what we now have figured out are, uh, thespians as in actors. Let's go ahead and sleep. I think that's what we were doing today. So somebody hired a group of actors to steal the 3 hearts that we needed for the cure for the wife, which is just kind of ridiculousness how off the rails the story has gone as far as this was a tale following Mina and her challenge to join the Battle Chef Brigade, which we did, and now we're doing what feels like some kind of DLC extended experience playing as Thrash, but Thrash's gameplay adds a whole bunch of fighting elements for when he hunts that are going to be sorely underused, and I wouldn't be surprised if we end up playing as a third character. We're not moving the story forward. We've just been trapped in stasis for an entire chapter, and it's just frustrating, certainly, and it has definitely affected how often I'm playing this game. Normally when I play games, it's even in the past couple of years where I've gotten fairly slow, I would play 3, 4, 5 episodes a day, 5 days a week out of usually. Now it's like I'm struggling to play 1 hour a day, and it's just wasting my time completely because I don't want to do anything else. I don't really have hard drive space to record another series until I start uploading videos and scheduling videos, which is a whole mess in itself. So then I just end up doing things that have nothing to do with my YouTube channel because I'm being driven away from wanting to do anything with my YouTube channel from this game, and that's a bad position. It's a position that argues for rage quitting, actually, and this would be a very soft, weird rage quit, but
Thrash, may I enter?
there's an argument certainly here to just give up and say, look, this is going in no direction that I expected or wanted. I just wanted to play a cooking game with match 3. So Kieran's entering.
Yeah, come on in.
Now here's, as we start to focus on the story, here we have another example of the doors never being closed. Maybe they should have made a sound effect or had them say knock knock, but then that would just highlight the fact that so many other characters seem to walk into people's bedrooms. So culturally it just seems like this is a world where people sleep with their bedroom doors wide open. But Kieran coming in the middle of the night talking to him really probably doesn't mean anything. I don't think this is going to be the beginning of some kind of romance, considering Thrash is married and worried about his wife and mother of his children potentially dying. So then this could just be some kind of secret meeting as part of the investigation, but I don't know if there's a real reason why it would have had to happen at night.
It's about the remedies Belkier and I have been working on.
Did one of them hold up?
No, and I'm afraid none of them will. Belkier says we must keep trying, but I've used the entirety of my medicinal knowledge and still cannot produce a cure.
It's a little bit weird so far from what we figured out in the story that they used magic to accidentally create the Dark Realm, but the Dark Realm creates a disease when you eat meat from the Dark Realm, which I guess that disease probably is just spreading to creatures not from the Dark Realm, and yet there's no magical or scientific reason to cure it, and yet they know the cure does lie within the creatures in the Dark Realm. It seems like there's a kind of inconsistent level of abilities there, as if things not in the Dark Realm are just completely incapable of affecting things in the Dark Realm.
I failed. Now, when you need me most, my expertise is meaningless.
Kieran, I've had days to find a bandit, and only 2 hearts to show for it. You've done more than I could ever ask.
Failure is the absence of progress. You have learned more about your opponent every day. That is significant. I wish I could say the same.
Yeah. Once again, we're just in a lot of story, and here they're showing the pose of Kieran with her back exposed to show that that's where her wings come out. Although there's really no reason that they shouldn't have just animated her in fewer poses and had her wings always out.
I couldn't be prouder to call you my friend. You've worked non-stop.
It looks
since I
very
told you
weird
about
for her to just
you
have
even
her
slept?
back turned to him while talking to him.
Have you?
Well, not much.
Then let's remedy that, for both of our sakes. I am certain you could use a full night's sleep.
You're probably right. Are you going to be okay?
Yes. And yourself?
It almost comes off as if she was suggesting they sleep together, but
I hope so.
But I don't think that's what they mean. Once again, I think this is an English game, but it sometimes feels like
Kieran
it
was
isn't.
right. I do feel better.
At the very least, what you could have done in a scene like that, which definitely did not need to happen, and it did cause them to have to reshade this room in darkness and thus redraw the background. And they probably have done that for a couple other scenes, but you could easily eliminate those new scenes. What is new, by the way? Let's just see if we can figure out. Oh, okay, that's new. Kieran should have been able to either use a magical action to put Thrash to sleep, or she should have been able to use some kind of medicine or make some kind of tea to put him to sleep. At least then there would have been a direct connection there instead of her just saying, well, yeah, you probably should sleep.
How may I be of service?
Good day, how's your wife? Not any better, unfortunately. Wait, I didn't mention she was sick to you. You know, our mail is always open on our desks in the morning. Ho ho, it's a service I'm happy to provide. So he's reading everybody's mail. This guy's been reading all our mail.
Good morning. I have some news for you, or what I hope is news.
So, Belchior.
A breakthrough?
Of a kind. I've been racking my brain for some clue as to who might have hired those bandits, and I have a hypothesis. I had an associate back at Horus Academia, Rixel. He was talented, but lacking in empathy.
I feel like we've already heard the name Rixel, and we kind of already know he's the bad guy, but we haven't seen anybody who's been called Rixel, so it could be anybody at all.
He became very angry at the Brigade's decision to fund me out of university and attempted to sabotage my efforts.
I wouldn't be surprised if it turned out it's actually Belchior that's the bad guy. That would be the subverting expectation twist that I would be on board with.
You think he hired the bandits to steal your research?
Perhaps. He too became a member of the Brigade's research corps, but you wouldn't know it from his demeanor.
Do you know where I can find him?
No, he hasn't reported to his station in several days. He may believe he's stolen a vital piece of the Ambrosia project. The codger.
Looking at how old Belchior is, Rixel probably would have to be as old as Belchior,
I'll
so
see if I can find anything else about him.
neither one of them are going to physically appear to be the kind of challenges you would expect, or tend to expect. Let's see, let's talk to everybody. Have you ever heard of someone named Rixel? Nah, I can't help you. Maybe you can help me, though. There's this cute orc girl with a spiky ponytail. Have you seen her around lately? Shiv? She got expelled for fighting. Crowds, I really wanted to talk to her. So, is that supposed to be a hint at the lesbian romance that could have happened? And is that supposed to be a hint that this storyline, which feels like a linear with visual novel with no branching paths, is it possible the storyline does have a few branching paths?
Any news? How are things?
Rixel. He's one of our worst customers. He always asks for strange ingredients and claim they're for Brigade business, but we never seen a requisition for him. If he's mixed up in this, you need to tread carefully. I'll keep that in mind. Thank you. Let's look at the shop and see if we have anything new to purchase, even from the shop today. Nope.
Good idea.
You might not want to walk there, sir. I just lost my breakfast. Yeah, you gonna be alright? I hope so, Ope. Whole group I'm traveling with, Burp, is sick from eating monsters. So everybody's getting sick. And then we have a group of 2 people we can talk to. You guys look cozy. We're sharing baklava, which, if I recall correctly, baklava is a braided bread, kind of, I think, based on Jewish cuisine, freshly made from Pontida. Pontida, wait, Caesar, did you ask Leonard for advice on women? Mind your business, I'm warning you. Oh, don't listen to him, he's just grumpy when he's been found out. Ah, well, I'll leave you guys to it then. Oh, hey, you, stop right there. I ask you to cease your brainless talking, one can see, I ain't walking. I guess that's supposed to be ain't, it was AMT. Look, I've been through a lot recently, so it'd be great if you acted normal. Normal. This is Dio. There's a bad guy, the main bad guy from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is named Dio. Doesn't, I don't think, look anything like this character. But once again, some Asian influences. Although it always feels very surface level Asian influences, this is a game that feels like someone saw 5 different anime shows and watched a bunch of Iron Chef when they were a teenager, and then they started thinking about making this game when they were about 18 years old. Normal is for the less creative. Now we'll see just what you're made of. Or you could ignore me. Do you have the heart or not? A gift have I to give you if you manage to pull through. Alright, so we have that whole conversation was forced upon me, but we can do the challenges first, and we still want to do that because we still want to get the money.
Hey,
although
I know you're both really busy, but I have a favor to ask.
I guess you could potentially try to race through this game and speedrun it and just not play any of the side stuff and just challenge people, and I might even be willing to watch a speedrun for this game if it took only like 20 minutes to get from beginning to end, but I don't know if anybody actually even speedruns this game. It feels like they tried to design this game so you could speedrun it, but then they really didn't design a game that's popular enough or enjoyable enough for that reason. And while there is a small collection of really bad games that are fun to speedrun because they have glitches that skip the vast majority of the bad parts of the game, most games that are fun to speedrun are games that people have some connection to, whether they were popular or whether they were fun.
Ask away.
I only have 1 heart left to find. It's made of fire. The last time I held it, my hands got burned pretty badly.
He breathes fire, and yet his hands can get burned. Interesting.
We can assist you in creating a dish to increase your fire resistance.
Fire resistance. That is weird. So we have a whole bunch of fire sauce. And so how can we do this in such a way that we would want to do this? Like, you can do this fine, and you can do that fine, and you can do that fine. And at that point you can match 3. And at that point you can match 3 there. And this really just comes down, I think, to doing something like that. Yeah, the only thing I could think is that there might be a trick where more fiery sauces are needed to change the value, but I don't think it works that way. Yeah, I think you change that, and then you stir these, and that merges that together, and that's 75. And so it kind of feels like you could have done that puzzle a lot worse than what I did. And okay. This is interesting because mergers is 3, mergers is 3, mergers is 3, and then mergers is 3. You can't apparently move anything. It just feels like you have to get kind of lucky. Yeah, it's pretty much you just have to get lucky. And that just gave me an achievement, so maybe that's the last one of these we're ever gonna do. Either that, or we've just done half of some arbitrary number because they're daily puzzles. And so now he has a fire resistance, which doesn't really make sense. What also doesn't make sense is to have this camera so zoomed out in a lot of these scenes, pretty much any of them. Even when you are cooking and need to show things on the shelf, it would have been fairly easy to make the shelf half as long. But I bet they probably designed the shelves and the item placement system so that it landed exactly the same place on every shelf every time you see a shelf in any kitchen, and thus they all have to have shelves on the exact same height and the exact same length.
Don't be alarmed. It's merely the dish.
Take caution, though. It will only provide the intended effect for 24 hours. You'll need to find the last heart before then.
So he has 24 hours before he gets burnt.
I'd better start searching. Thanks, guys.
Which, like, having fire resistance is cool and all, but I don't think there's anything more to that.
Have you made those bandits into corpses yet?
Yeah, there's a question certainly about whether the Battle Chef Brigade ever attacks humans or not, but it seems to me like Thorn implies you can do that for the most part, and yet we saw Mina get expelled for attacking another competitor outside of the competition. But also it doesn't seem like you can attack competitors inside the competition either.
I haven't gotten all my hearts back, if that's what you mean.
So I guess maybe Thorn is just a bad girl.
A shame, but I do have a surprise for you.
We're getting the same music playing over and over again. It's not bad music, and it's not even become super irritating. But for the length of this game, they definitely could have spent some more money, some more budget on a few more sound files.
Surprise?
Doesn't even sound excited after all that trouble.
I'm sure it's nice.
I don't need your pity.
As you can see, it's full of scowls. Have fun. Alright, so... And so there's nothing but scowls in this area. Which... I don't know if fighting these guys are specifically anything special that you would want. And outside of Berserk mode, you do a decent amount of hits. And this is just the air. Alright, and when you're here... And I just got another achievement called Hunter, which makes me feel like that's the last one of those. Which makes me kind of question, are we going to have a very, very short final act? Which I'd be fine with that at this point.
I feel kind of bad for losing control of myself.
There's a problem with Thrash having a Berserk mode and then also having a loving wife and children. Like, those two characteristics, not very complementary. Thrash seems like a very calm, nice guy, so him potentially going into some kind of berserker rage when he's fighting just doesn't feel natural. And there's been plenty of other, like, kind of abrupt jerk characters that you could have given a berserk ability to. Maybe you wouldn't have wanted to play as them.
Sometimes you need to let go, just for a minute.
And see, you have just incredibly surface level story here, where it's like, yeah, I found this hunt for you so you can go beat on a bunch of animals.
How are you doing?
To let out some rage.
Not well.
I would say something to make you feel better, but I have a hunch you're beyond that.
It sure feels that way.
Yeah, Thrash doesn't feel like somebody who goes into a berserk rage. He feels like somebody who falls into a deep depression.
This is the best I can do for you. Why are you standing around when there are customers to serve? Get to work, recruit!
Yes, chef!
Alright, and we're back to just cooking. And screwed that up. Is there really any solution here? Like, the thing I guess I'm supposed to learn from this is don't mess up fragile things. Don't mess with the fragile gems. Instead,
thank you.
Make it so that you can actually succeed. I don't know if I can actually succeed here.
This is taking too long.
See, I wasted too much time there. And then they give me basically the same pattern the second time. And then... And we're just trying, I think, our very best to get things in the right place, and man, it's not great. And I'm still not really a true believer that there actually is a challenge here, or that this is just kind of all done for show. Like,
Surprisingly good.
like it does kind of just come off as you get the same amount of money regardless of how many you do, or you get just a smaller difference, 24
You know,
instead of maybe
I think this is
25.
what I needed.
And that was another achievement called Restaurant Eat Tier.
Glad I could help. I know it's tough right now, but I believe in you.
Thanks, Puntita. That means a lot coming from you.
So I'm wondering, is the final chapter just going to be boss fight after boss fight after boss fight? And are they going to be incredibly difficult boss fights? Basic attacks do fire damage. Flame breaths target enemies. Interesting. Flame breath lasts longer. Let's see. Do I want to buy that? Or do I want something that could increase? I think Ingredient Master is probably our best bet. And then not Wrecking Ball. Clone Taste Gems to crystallize them. Slowly promote Taste Gems. I'm gonna buy that, but I may not use it. Okay, still plenty of things we didn't buy. I'm on a mission, I won't let you stop me. Verily, then, our battle shalt start, thou shalt recover thine heart. Alright, so Fire Dish, Fire Dish, Fire Dish versus quickly promotes Fire Taste Gems. Let's get rid of that. Let's put that here. Let's serve a dish with level 4 fire things. 3 different types of cupware. Well, that actually probably is fairly easy to do. And 5 bone ingredients. Satchel slots. Berserk lasts longer.
A fight? Alright.
And now he has a voice. You don't see a lot of meat dishes like that. And there frankly should have been a lot more meat dishes like that, where you just have shanks and legs and ham hocks and things that are kind of the opposite of vegetarian dishes, things that are just big chartreuses, or I think is the word.
Good morrow, adoring fans. 'Tis mine pleasure to remain Thane Paz the Magnificent on this most exciting.
So does he have 2 wives, or are these just 2 female friends? Who knows?
As I looked upon the faces of my fellows last night, my mind did waltz amongst memories long past. I dreamt a dream of thespians, incredibly talented, yet poorly treated by a society who did not understand their genius.
You can definitely see how they didn't bother to hire the voice actor playing the main characters and the main judges, which either that's because they had 2 different teams hiring out the voice actors, or there was just a major breakdown in cooperation at some point. It could be that all the original voice actors didn't want to come back and do any more work for the DLC. It could be that they fired all the original voice actors. I don't think the voice acting in this game has been bad, but it certainly has been incredibly inconsistent, which does kind of imply that they ran out of budget or ran out of a working relationship, as it were, with the original voice actors. It would certainly explain why some characters talk but sometimes they don't talk. Maybe it wasn't just a budget issue. This does feel like it has a lot of the markers of what I suspect would be a troubled production, with kind of incomplete art, incomplete voice acting. It's pretty much an incomplete gameplay mechanic too. And I don't think all of that just boils down to this was a Kickstarter game and they ran out of money. I think there's something that majorly happened here in the background, and I'm sure nobody will ever actually tell the tale.
Was then I asked, forsooth, what could...
No, no. I won't listen to this anymore.
So he's just going berserk, telling him to speed it up.
I'm sorry you had to quit acting to become bandits. I'm sorry you're mixed up in this. I wish I could help you. But please listen to me.
Like, even when he's berserk, he's just all black.
Every minute you sit around and pontificate.
Like, somebody would have animated that a lot better. And if you look at his, like, feet and his outline, it seems like they were thinking of giving him some kind of, like, werewolf transformation as an orc. I don't know if that really makes sense.
She's never needed me for anything, but I've always needed her. I can't let her down.
But he's moving and posing quite a lot
What
while
is
he's
this
talking.
unbridled anger? Step back, Thane. This orc is danger.
That's not it. My transformation stems from something greater. It comes from the worn looks, long nights, quiet moments, and stupid jokes only we'd laugh at. The way she smiled the day I proposed. It comes from love.
So they give him the speech instead, which maybe if he had given the speech earlier, he would have come off as a slightly more likable character instead of giving this speech at the end of a game. You'd give a big speech to somebody at the end of a movie or a story. In a video game, I think you give the big speech fairly in the middle or at the beginning. Then you jump into the action. And then there's a whole bunch of grinding, usually in games.
Speak your desires, mine comrades. Yes, let's see. Returning to the table is Dorothy, along with our utmost talented thespian, Bia.
Create a glamorous dish of water and earth, befitting a star of my stature.
Water and earth.
I require a dish of fire.
Fire.
And refined palate, of which there is
And
no
earth and
match in
fire.
all of Victusia.
I prithee thou willst make me a dish with
The
fire
judges
and
don't seem
earth.
like they ever change what they're asking for, which seems kind of ridiculous. Why not have 6 judges at most and just have them have different lines of voice of dialogue and have different desires day to day as far as what kind of dishes they want? Okay. Squickle is water and earth, so we need some fire in that. And seems like our character is just going to be in berserk mode. And so if we're getting squickle, we need to hit here with this. And let's just do this. There's 3 things we can do with fire to start off with. Okay. And Squeakle Tentacle and Squeakle Stomach. Start that up. And then we'll get some more Squeakle. Squeakle Stomach, Squeakle Tentacle, and then 3 dragon things. And we'll go back here, and let's get the sauces. Okay, Squeakle Tentacle, and Squeakle Stomach. And we'll now need a watery sauce and a fire sauce. And it seems like we've got only that. So earth and water we can do, so we can do a bunch of Krana, I guess. He's got like plenty of time, and the dragon's not gonna reappeal. So there's Squeakle Tentacle. Okay. Alright, so we've got a couple of dishes here. Now, what we need to do is figure out who is going to do what. Earth and fire, I guess, is what we will want to do here. So, earth and fire with that. And then add some dragon. And then over here we'll add small Squeakle Tentacle. And then if we're going to do earth and fire, we need to do it merged together. So I'm going to just go ahead and put that here and get rid of that. And so now let's just do fire. Fire with a little Squeakle Tentacle. And some more fire. And more fire. And fire on that. Start merging these together. Come on. Seriously? Well, those are 3 merge things. Do we have any more fire that we want to do? No, I don't think so. Alright, so we need this here, start this cooking. Take this here. This one we want all blue, so we'll do that, and do that. And we'll do that.
Now we shall see, the cunning knave. Canst thou give our judges what they crave?
I'm getting really tired of this.
For your fatigue I shan't atone. This mode is mine. 'Tis flesh and bone.
Gotta stay calm.
Okay. I think we may here just need to continue to make greens. Okay. Let's do that. And do that. And what are we trying to do with this one? We need red and green, and we probably want more red and green, if I was to guess. Now we need another red. Come on. This is not working well at all. I may have to get rid of quite a few. Alright, now. We need more reds. May have to get rid of quite a few greens just to make up for the lack of reds. Alright. And we've got like 2 minutes left. This is just real easy to do something really slow. Right, now I really don't think I have time for much of anything. So we have a green and blue, which is totally wrong. We have this. Let's see. So I could lose one power gem, or I can try and have one green, which I don't think I'm going to be able to do. 1, 2, 3. And alright, well, here we go. We have red and green, wrong. Serve it. Let's put this here just to pretend like we'd serve this. We have blue and green, wrong. Let's serve it. And then let's put this here. And then let's put this here. And let's serve this. And once again, I think I may have just screwed this up so much, unless the game is just going to cheat and let me win. And the whole time we had Berserk enabled, which is not what we got before. We had gotten fire resistance. If there was any idea that fire resistance was going to equate to Berserk mode lasting forever, that would have made a lot more sense. Yeah, I've probably lost here, but maybe the game will cheat. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to be a lot more careful and a lot faster. Like, the problem here is that the gameplay mechanic really is just falling apart at the seams. It just doesn't work as a gameplay mechanic. The grid in the match 3 idea is flawed in the fact that there aren't enough grid spaces. You're not really doing something like Tetris where you can just go on forever and forever. You're kind of doing something that's even smaller, I think, than 2048, or maybe it is 2048 in some ways, but it's not great. And yeah, it's just not a fun gameplay mechanic to play. And then the hunting element does nothing for you at all. It feels like you should probably have a sous chef or a tag team partner, and whenever you go out and hunt, somebody would be cooking in the kitchen automatically for you and doing a fairly decent job. If that was the case, then I could potentially run out and hunt the whole time if I'm good at hunting and get a high score because of that. Or if I'm bad at hunting, I could tag in and do the match 3 gameplay elements. And yeah, abandoning one of those two very distinct ways of playing this game, or one of those two distinct gameplay mechanics, would be a way to balance out this game and have it appeal to more people. But in a weird way, the character that you would want to play in a game like this is actually the judge. You'd like to just be able to look at food and judge it, and maybe get scored based on your judging because of that. Which at a certain point, I guess maybe it would just be better to watch the anime Food Wars, which is that anime I've been talking about. I finally saw the name of it. Moving on, Dio made sun hat tomato tortinelli topped with eggs and eggs medley. Seems like they didn't use any squeakle. I have very specific dietary needs that meal does not match. Squeakle is not rare enough ingredient to warrant its exclusion, so he gets 136 from that. And once again, his board is just full. Yeah, I think 2048 is a 5x5 grid. The flavors I ask of the play, but a minor part in 9 dish. He also did not serve her the flavors she wanted. Tis not the worst I've tasted, but it lacks the spark I long for. So 136. Can my dish beat that?
Bewitching flavors.
I'm serving pulpo a la squeakle tentacle. I don't know what pulpo is. Served in squeakle stomach and corona nectar melon. Wonder if pulpo is some delicacy somewhere. Thine flavor profile isn't very distinguished. I can hardly taste the requested flavor, so 111. If thine dish were human, 'twould be but an understudy. So no bonuses, but we're not too far off. But I don't think I have a major dish that bumps me into the far range of victory. So now he's serving King Bing Gnocchi. It almost feels like this DLC is just designed to show off some final dishes that they knew they weren't going to be able to use. With a side of boron steak and king bean medley. So I need to get about 25 more points over him. Perchance did thy squeakle slip away from thee, so that's 150 from 300. Once again, the whole board is full. Thy dish does not contain enough fire to satisfy my desire. So 286.
Marvelous.
Now we have ball on rib frittata o picada. That sounds like a Spanish dish if I've ever heard one. With a side of squeakle tentacle and dragon shank medley. 170. Alas, the firing flavors are so forthright that mine brow doth sweat with satisfaction. So now we're up to 220. And we get another 50. I believe I saw you use at least 3 kinds of cookware. I'm impressed that you could have managed so many moving parts. See, and that was what I was trying to get a bonus for everything, and clearly I didn't do it in the first one. So we're up to 270 now. Thine dish is the greatest my tongue have ever touched. So now we're at 381 versus 286. It's still a possibility I'm gonna lose here. He made tacoberry cannoli garnished with fiery sauce and egg medley. Again, a lot of desserts too in what feel like a non-dessert round. He got 128. I think we may have won this. A dutiful effort, but I prefer mine flavors body and unabashed. He didn't have any fire in his dish at all. And also take note that in this dish, it isn't completely full. So it does feel like the game just calculates at the very end whatever score you need and then removes a certain number of gems and doesn't show you the score until it's already calculated the score that you can beat. I commend thee on the labor well toiled, but methinks thou canst improve. Again, canst is weird. It should be can improve, but maybe that's Old English and I don't understand Old English as well as I thought I did. But there clearly are also points where the game will let you lose if you really mess up. So there must be a hard number. We need to beat 414, which basically means we need 50 points, and so we've won. Here we have a pulpo a la squeakle tentacle served with a squeakle stomach and dragon steak melon. Thou mustn't hide mine requested flavors. Bring them to the surface. Let them breathe. 158. Using the same ingredient frequently was a risky move, but you excelled in bringing out a variety, so now we're 183. To be sure, thine dish is marvelous. I am giddy as a maiden. Apparently I didn't use all 3 cookwares on that one either.
Sir Thrash bested our strongest member. Pronounce thee the winner.
So I beat him by like 150 points. Once again, there's only that one weird difficulty spike, and then every other battle felt like it was cheating in my favor very heavily. And it doesn't really feel like the game has gotten even more challenging. It seems like there's been no ramp up in challenge, and that you very possibly, if you knew the rules on the first battle, could have done this battle and won.
I remain a man of mine honor. I will give this to thee. But I prithee, what is wrong with thy wife?
Yea, we await the tale with bated breath.
Can't you people take a hint? There's no time to spare, and I've already wasted so much chasing you around. The truth is, she has dark realm fever. No one knows how she got it, but these hearts are the only things that have a shot at curing her.
And this is going to be funny because it really feels like had he just said that to them at the beginning, they may have just handed over the hearts.
They're my only hope.
Tragic.
Romantic.
Dramatic.
I'm interested in that.
Quite simply, it's
The most moving story mine ears have ever heard. Think we are the villains.
See, and that's that scene right there of tragic, dramatic, romantic, all of that. It kind of feels like the writer of the story is saying that his story has been this tragic, romantic story, and I'm like, yeah, you're trying to have those themes in your story for sure, but you're not succeeding by any means. You're just wasting my time telling me a bare bones basic story, something I'd expect a junior high student to write, not something that I would expect to see coming from a professional adult writer.
We don't have to be.
And sure, video game stories have never been great or that complicated or in depth, but this is really, really
It is my solemn vow
like
to you,
surface level.
the way of the bandit and return to the
Just
path of
this
the acre.
huge entire chapter felt like a waste of time.
Great. And the heart?
All yours in it.
And to heighten thy story's tension, take a bit of information. Rixel's hideout lies in a basement under King's Square. Do with that what thou wilt.
Ah, yes, the drama.
So they just turn over where Rixel is.
You, mine good sir, shalt always be an honorary member of our motley caste. You may call upon us at your whim, and we shall appear ready to assist.
And yeah, I said he was going to be made a member of this troop because of the red sash on him. Which
Seriously,
was,
I have to
I
leave.
think, always there.
Of course, onward to thine goal. May 1,000 headstrong bow run pull ye to thine destination.
So we get the Heart of Fire, one of the 3 Yoku hearts. The blood inside is boiling.
Kieran, Belgior, I have the final heart.
Now this is gonna suck if they said, well, we already made the cure and your wife has already been cured.
Well done.
Hurry, give them to me. We need to begin the distillation process immediately.
Will it still take 12 hours?
There's no way around it. In order to properly hydrolyze the hearts, they need to be cooked at a low temperature for many hours.
So basically they need to be sous vide, which sous vide cooking is probably the best way to cook food, very slowly, at a very low temperature, but it is also the most time and energy intensive way to cook food, and it does have the problems of not charring the outside of meat, so you still kind of need to grill the outsides of any kind of meat after you've sous vide it to give it a kind of charred caramelized flavor on the outside of it. And sous vide cooking really can only cook so much. There definitely are some things you would never be able to sous vide, or at least we've yet to find them. There's actually been a decent amount of innovation or discovery, take your pick, in cooking in the past decade or two, with molecular gastronomy and things like that. But that kind of always happens with cooking. It is a very living science.
12 truly is the quickest. Anything less and the tincture may not be effective.
I can't stand waiting to see her anymore. There has to be something I can do.
So 12 more hours. It's probably been about 4 days since you heard she was sick.
Your intentions are good, Thrash, but you have to think about what's best for Ardia.
I'd completely forgotten what her name was,
negative consequences.
which really goes to show they shouldn't have named her at all and just said your wife.
I know, you're right. It's just hard to stand by and do nothing.
The thing about these 3 hearts is if you were to mix all 3 of them together, you then would need to probably mix it with like a item that gave you 2x2 rainbow gems, and then everything would have to merge again into like a 4th level gem if you were going to introduce something around that concept. But if you do introduce a concept around that where there is a 4th level gem that gives you like 1,000 point meal, you'd almost never be able to actually accomplish that in the actual challenges.
Come back at the first light of dawn. Leave the rest to us.
So they just skip you immediately to the room. Here's another example where they drew it, or they put a shader and a tint over it, so it's nighttime.
Hold on, Ardia.
They really just jump you around all over the place.
You did it! It's real!
Quite real.
Finished just 3.2 minutes ago.
Then there's no time to lose.
So he is talking exactly like 12 hours. Ardia's cure, it's made of love and 3 rare hearts. That glass jug looks more like something you would use as a bedpan than to pour any kind of liquid out of, or any kind of food out of.
Wait, you did so much to help me. Maybe I can pay Rixel a visit and suggest he stops trying to sabotage you.
Why don't you do that after you save your wife?
The bandits told me he's hiding out in the basement at King Square.
I appreciate the gesture, but Rixel cannot stand in the way of science, however hard he may try.
Still, Belchior, perhaps you should visit him and attempt to put this grudge to rest. I will accompany you as protection.
But he's got his rats everywhere. How unsanitary in a place of experimentation.
There's no
That's
need to be
ironic.
such a curmudgeon. In any case, we can discuss this later. Thrash must be on his way.
Considering how there's cats everywhere at this cat scientist cafe that looks nothing like a cat cafe and acts nothing like a cat cafe.
I don't think I'll ever be able to thank you.
You don't need to. Just go. We'll catch up when you return.
But I'm not...
My apprentice has the right of it. We wish you only the best.
Yeah, thank you.
So what's funny is in Mina's story, we don't see any conversation at all that said Thrash went home. It just seems like that is just what's gonna happen, and he just didn't tell anybody. And it still looks like there's room for at least 4 more battles. Let's talk to people.
How's it going?
Hey, Thrash, you got a second? Yeah, but make it quick. I've got to leave. That Rixel guy, ever find out why he wanted your hearts? Yeah, he was trying to steal Belchior's ambrosia flower. Was he? I'm not so sure. And see, we can see that he's still investigating.
Always a pleasure.
Leonid, I'm glad I caught you. I'm about to leave town. I want to say goodbye. leaving, I understand, but please be cautious on the road. Reports of monster violence keeps coming in from across Victusia. There are rumors of the committee might even decide to postpone the tournament. So we haven't even gotten in, going back in time, we haven't even gotten to the point where the tournament got postponed. Well, never heard of that happening before. Don't worry about me though, I can handle any monster. I don't doubt it. Take care, Thrash. You too, I hope we meet again someday. And there's no store here.
Hi.
Whoa there, where are you headed? West, I need to leave immediately. I just came from the west. Monsters are more vicious than ever. Please be careful on the road. Thanks, I'll keep an eye out for trouble. So it'd be funny if there was a kind of traveling section here and it was kind of like a random generated forest where monsters attacked us. There probably could have been several instances like that where we went more in kind of an RPG element where we would have to go from point A to point B and grind through hunting and battling. Actually, that wouldn't have been a bad idea at all to throw in more action. I'm glad to see you looking happy again. You've made your antidote? Yeah, but before I go, who asked whom? That's none of your business. I asked him, of course. He was so nervous. Tita. Sigh, don't mistake me, boy. I'm the happiest I've been. You two are the cutest. So, yeah, it's just wrap-up story and wrap-up story.
Hold it right there, recruit.
And here we have Razzle, who probably is just going to say goodbye.
Instructor Razzle, I really have to go.
You haven't participated in a match since July 8th. Why?
So, yeah, he apparently has been only fighting the, he's only been fighting the bandits.
My wife fell ill and I've been working on an antidote. I haven't had time to think about anything else. It's good that you're here though. I'd like to formally withdraw myself from the proving tournament.
So he withdraws.
I see. Are you sure this is what you want? You're one of our brightest talents this year, and I don't dole out praise flippantly.
Razzle, another character that's underused.
My family's more important than my place in the tournament. They're the whole reason I came here.
Yeah, I really don't see why you wouldn't just have Pontita or Thorn be the character that coordinated the tournament in part, or have each of the characters, Belkior, Thorn, and Pontita, be on the committee. You don't need yet another committee member.
Very well, Thrash. Your resignation is denied.
What?
You will return to your family as planned. I will leave this meeting to state that intent. However, I will not disclose the rest of our discussion. We need orcs like you in the brigade. Your heart and candor, they can't be taught. You will make a fine brigadier.
Instructor.
If you should not return in time to finish your matches, I will take that as your official resignation. Until then, I look forward to watching you compete again.
See, I don't know why he would really...
Dismissed.
He would really...
Moved. Scared.
Resign immediately. When the rules seem to show you have like 30 days to do all the challenges. And so he's traveling to a new area we've never seen before. So they paid somebody to animate something here. Unless... Yep, there's a whole animation.
Is it really you?
And we've got a whole another character in the background, which is probably like a father or father-in-law, or maybe a chieftain. And you can see by the looks of the background, there's a lot of Asian influence on these orcs. They do look like feudal Japanese people with wall scrolls and silk-like clothing.
Ardia, my love, I need you to take this medicine.
Is it working?
We're literally only going to see this room like once. So I have no idea why they would have done this. It would have been easier simply to not show this part and fade forward and then show that Thrash had just been telling his story to Mina this whole time, and then you don't have to animate and show this part and introduce a character named Kurz and have a voice actor voice him, or show Ardea and have a voice actor voice her. Or if you absolutely needed to show her sick somewhere, you could have had her rush to the city capital and being held in a different in-room. That way you could just reuse the in-room scene once again.
Do you feel anything? Ardea? Dia?
All the orcs seem to be very varied in color, which is a little weird.
You did all you could, my son. She returns to her mother now.
Everything I worked for, everything I did, none of it was enough.
If she really dies, then that's just a bummer for no reason.
I never should have left you.
And she coughed, and then she immediately changed color back into being a light blue.
Ardea!
Daughter.
And then I just got another achievement.
Mommy!
And they're gonna give the kid a line of voice acting also.
Mama!
Both kids.
This is the best I've felt in an age.
And then they're gonna animate the kids in a different pose. It's a lot of animation
You're
here.
all right. Maybe you should take it easy.
I've rested enough for one lifetime. I've missed you.
Yeah, I don't know what they did here. If they had storyboarded, like really, really early, they had storyboarded these scenes and then they just paid an artist to kind of finish a storyboard into a finalized frame, but they planned on a lot more animation. It feels like they probably planned on a lot more animation, and maybe this really was a case that the money ran out and they had planned on doing business with a voice acting group and that they ran out of that, and that's why the game is only half voiced, and they planned on doing a lot of business with an animation third-party company and they ran out of money, or for some other reason broke off from that, and that's why we have these very poorly thought out still visual novel scenes that don't feel like they're finished even as still scenes, let alone as a full animated experience, and they don't feel well thought out as far as what is more important. Like, is it really important to have 4 different poses for Thrash's kids who you literally are only going to see in the scene, or should you have focused more on Mina and Thrash as, I guess, now the 2 main characters of the story?
I've missed you too. More than anything.
Father!
So it's her father?
Ardea.
Or who knows, maybe both of
There
them.
are so many things I wish to say to you. For now, be at ease. I will tell the villagers of your recovery.
Ardea.
And see, they just had him fade out, whereas we've previously seen characters actually walk out of a room for no reason.
I know what you're going to say and I won't hear it.
You know I can't go back after this. I almost lost you once. I won't let that happen again.
And I won't let you give up on what you've worked so hard for.
We never really got to the point of what the pay is like for the Battle Chef Brigade, but one would assume that the pay is probably fairly good, so he probably would be better suited going back and serving his family that way than staying here, although emotionally he would want to stay with her.
Kai, Lupa, how would you like to go on a trip?
So they're all gonna go with him.
Yeah!
We can't take the kids. Monsters are attacking anything in sight.
Then we'll protect our pups from any monsters foolish enough to get in our way.
You're serious?
I'm not chieftain yet. We can take a vacation to watch you achieve your dream.
So, well, apparently she's going to be the chieftain.
I don't know what to say.
Interesting.
Say yes.
Okay, yeah. We'll leave in the morning.
They're just like desperate to have a happy ending here. And that certainly was a bit of information that did not need to be added to the story, is that his wife is going to be chieftain.
It's bigger than I remember it.
And now we're back in the alley, but apparently there's flowers where the place was, or we're in a different alley.
Yeah, and it's full of the most talented chefs in Victusia.
No, it's somebody's hiding in the bushes. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the thespians for a joke ending.
Do I detect hesitation?
What? Me? Never.
We never were good at lying. How about this? A duel, you and me.
Ardia, I think we should go to the inn.
Don't tell me you're scared. Come on, let's shake the rust off together.
Kind of ridiculous to have a fight with her.
Doth the maiden request a duel?
Yep, it's all the actors trying to have a comedic ending here.
And we're too late.
Who are these people?
Ah, well, it is my great pleasure to be here.
As the talkative, I guess they're my friends.
No, they're not. They in no way are his friends. And it kind of spits in the face of the idea that Thrash is supposed to be a friend with Mina, because they really didn't have enough interaction for them to be friends. But to say that these characters are the new friends, are friends too, that's ridiculous. This is really a game that feels like it's trying to tell us a story for a 10-year-old while making us play a game that is so complicated and so long and so just heavy on dialogue that I couldn't even imagine an 18-year-old really liking this game. Even as a full-grown adult, I really don't like this game that much.
Now we have an audience.
Oh no, good lady, thou hast a performance.
So it's just going to throw us into another challenge? Really? Just out of nowhere? Just no excuse at all. And they're showing a new tree that has never been shown as far as the way the practice realm has been depicted. So if we beat the wife, who fights us for no reason, there still feels like there's room enough for like 5 more fights. So, like, it could be that there's a end of this chapter in this fight, and then we get to the final chapter and we fight the bad guy, and maybe we fight him 5 different times in a row. That's about the only thing I could think. It would be fairly ridiculous, but not beyond the pale for as ridiculous as this game has been, as it continues to just draw itself outward and make it longer than it needs to be. I wouldn't be surprised if they threw in 3 or 4 new challenger characters that just pop up out of nowhere. And I imagine we won't see any real difference or any real challenge in this cooking element. If they were going to make a game that just wanted you to fight every single character that they could think of, and they just wanted to make a bunch of random characters for you to fight, it kind of feels like at that point it should just be a Mortal Kombat tournament bracket, which it sort of is like that, but it isn't quite like that. That they probably should just have characters appear and say, I challenge you, and then you beat them, and then you have a selection screen, kind of like a top-down world map interface where you just go down from one character's face to another character's face to another character's face, and you just eliminate all the story and all the parts that pretend like they're gameplay when they really aren't. yeah, I could see potentially of having made a mobile game around this concept, and you could have eliminated tons of the animation and nobody would have minded, and you could have eliminated tons of the dialogue and nobody would have minded. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.